Dude, we got, like, more sleep than usual.
You might have.
Says the guy who falls asleep in 30 seconds.
Yep. Actual superpower.
Tell me about it. Whereas I have to lay in bed for 3 hours before my brain is like, maybe we should go to bed. Maybe we should sleepy. Counting the individual molecules in the paint chips on the ceiling.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is you want a poster hung up on the ceiling to stare at?
I could certainly get on board with that.
I'll work on that.
Why buy a comic that might cost more than a dime? Come meet the brothers who are here to waste your time.
Welcome back to the dimecomicbros podcast.
It'll be a BVS poster just for you.
That'll be true. Put Gal Gadot on my ceiling, please.
I was saying Henry Cavill and Ben Affleck
That too.
kissing and making up like they do at the end of the movie.
That's true. Could have all three of them kissing and making up.
It was in the director's cut. Yeah.
I would know that because I only watched the director's cut because
That's the only way Zack Snyder can make a movie.
it's true.
No. It has to be a 4.5 hour epic every time, and it's about two dudes kissing. But it doesn't make sense if it's just, the theatrical cut.
Unironically, he was going to make another 300 movie that was going to be about a couple of fucking Romans. And he was, what was it? He's going to make an Alexander the Great movie. Notorious So he wanted to just make the biggest gay movie ever. That didn't happen. It fell through.
The theatrical cut, they don't actually kiss.
No,
despite
no.
it being a movie about two dudes kissing.
Yeah, no, so they can send the theatrical cut to China.
Right.
Yeah.
Welcome back to Dime Comic Bros podcast.
I already said that.
I know. But then I kept riffing.
I am Spencer.
Hello, Spencer.
Hello, Jeffrey Dahmer.
No. Jeffrey Epstein.
Jacob.
That's me.
Yes.
Hi.
Yes.
We are here to talk about Punisher,
Warzone.
War Journal Zone, death and stuff.
Warzone.
Yeah.
2 words.
But not the Call of Duty one.
No.
He should have a skin in Call of Duty. Like, what are they actually doing?
That's true. You know what else he should have? A skin in Fortnite. Because everyone has a fucking skin in Fortnite. You can play as Darth Vader next to Daredevil next to a Ninja Turtle.
You know what? Punisher should have a foreskin. Fortnite skin!
Oh, boy. It came out in 2008. It was originally designed to be a sequel to the 2004 movie, but during development, it was changed to a reboot, but not an origin story. He finds some mob guys and goes, I think mob guys sucky and corrupt cops are sucky and I'm going to kill them. And then he gets really sad that he accidentally kills a Fed, and it kind of derails the whole damn movie.
Yeah. And then Micro's like, no, you need to keep killing bad guys. They're bad. Kill them all.
Out of the 3, this was definitely the most enjoyable experience.
Yes.
I don't know if it's because it's better or if it's just because it's more flashy. Because it's not good, but it's not unwatchable either. It's very watchable. It rapidly oscillates.
It's not good in a cinematic sense.
No, it's
but
pretty
it's
rough.
Fun as a crappy movie.
Yeah.
Like, it's a dumb action movie. This is a fun one, and it's good.
It's weird because it feels like a movie from like the 80s. It was made in 2008.
Yeah.
It's very off base.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
It felt very similar to like what the Dolph Lundgren one was trying to do, but failed horribly.
Yeah. No, it was so weird. Yeah, like it rapidly oscillates in quality between like scene to scene and like shot to shot.
Even in scenes, yeah.
Yeah, it's like that was neat, that was bad, that looks cool, that looks like shit. It's
like,
really uneven.
This is really good camp. Like, you can tell.
I would say unintentional camp mostly, but
I don't think so, because the profiles are so hyper profile. Like, the Italian mob literally does the bippity boppity poo. Like,
yeah. Oh no,
It's
the
like-
accents in this movie are horrendous.
are
All around.
horrible.
Every single one.
Give me a greasy Italian accent.
Yeah, what it is. Yeah.
The boys are in the back. You're like,
Yeah.
all right, good enough.
Yeah, woof. Yes. Yes.
But also, there's like McGinty has a reggae accent. Like, there's no country you can put like, oh, that's where it's from. It's like he listened to some reggae music and was trying to copy that. He doesn't know.
Pretty damn rough too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the only performances that were like just kind of good were the lead and the main antagonist.
Yeah.
I think were actually pretty solid. They're very uneven, that's for sure, like characterization wise. But the
Ray Stevenson was trying to play his ass off. Like,
it's just a shame that a lot of the material is wildly out of character.
Whatever emotion was written in, he was portraying it very well. It just didn't make the movie very cohesive.
Yeah. And the guy playing Billy the Beaut was just literally the Joker from 1989, but like that's fine. Like he's just all
Chaos.
mad.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's stupid, but like the prosthetics look pretty good.
That's what I was gonna talk about. His face looked pretty good. There were a couple of times that it was like, yeah, I can kind of see what they did there, but most of the time, like, he's talking and the whole prosthetic is moving like it's his face. It was really well done.
pretty gross.
Yeah.
In general, the movie's actually pretty gross. There's a lot of very mixed, very good practical effects and extremely bad CG effects. Like, people getting shot in the knees and bleeding looks great, and then, like, a guy gets his head blown off and it's entirely CG and it looks like garbage. Like, it looks like it was done in, like, Adobe After Effects.
The prosthetics, like, they even, like, weeped a little bit sometimes. Like, they looked squishy.
Yeah, very gross.
Yeah, it's great. Some of the, especially like how Jigsaw becomes Jigsaw and like what takes place to mess his face up is really gnarly and feels like something you would see in a Punisher comic. Like,
Yes.
yeah, Punisher would actually throw a guy into that. Like,
Yes, into the Saw 3 heroin needle pit you go. Whee!
I can't think of any more examples from this movie, but this movie certainly tries to, like, shock value. It's trying to have the shock value.
Yeah, there's a lot of additional blood and gore just kind of thrown in there.
You said last night while we were watching the movie that these movies are definitely just a product of their times. And
Sort of.
you were saying cinematically, like, you can tell this movie's from the early 2000s or this movie's from the 2012s or whatever. And there is a bit of that, but I think that's half of it. The other half, it's a product of the comics of those times, too.
Yeah.
Like, you can see clearly the influences of, like, what Punisher comics these movies draw from.
Yeah, I would say definitely not in, like, a story sense, but, like, in terms of how fucked up the most recent comics were.
Yeah.
Like, the 2004 movie was coming out around the time that Garth Ennis took over the book and then changed a lot of stuff and made it a lot more serious.
Yeah.
And the movie kind of reflected that, but also had a lot of camp in it. And then this one is definitely, like, post 9/11 Punisher comics, just very, very brutal and kind of unnecessarily so. But kind of enjoyable. This is definitely a bad movie.
I wasn't even saying, like, the geopolitical, the beans. It was more like, yeah, I'm gonna throw a guy in a car squisher because
Yeah.
it's funny.
Yes.
And, like, he deserves to die or whatever. Or, like,
Yes.
the mousetrap style kills instead of just I shoot the guy in the face.
Yes.
So
I do enjoy that.
it's the
He's a
it's-
little mini crossbow with a laser sight. Like, what the fuck?
Right. He's
so stupid.
Such a drama queen. Like, in the opening scene, he hangs by his legs from a chandelier and spins on it with, like, two, yeah, what are those? Like, Uzis. And just spins with the dual Uzis. Just killing dudes. And it's like, what a Drama queen.
I mean, the second kill of the movie, he just takes like the mob guy's wife and just literally snaps her neck. So like, yeah, it's just pretty.
Just the drama queen, the style of the kills, like
I like that.
That carries over very well.
Yeah,
and that's definitely a newer comic idea, I think.
I would say so. Yeah, he's not always the most efficient guy. He does indeed take pleasure in what he's doing.
Yeah,
which is not reflected by the characterization outside of the action scenes, where he's very like, I'm gonna stop now because I accidentally killed a Fed and I feel bad. And it's like, I don't know about that, Skipper. That's pretty weird.
You were stuck on that. I was stuck on Micro being like the killer. In the killer mentality of like, no, you're gonna kill them all. Like, it felt like they swapped the characters, honestly. Like, Micro's supposed to be the, hey, maybe we shouldn't be killing everybody? Maybe. All right, I'll go along with you.
Yeah.
But Punisher, is far more violent and just like burned the world.
It's very odd, especially because towards the end of the movie, they try to have like there's another character that works with Micro who's like a former banger, and it's like, nah, he's clean now and he's good. And it's like, and then he basically sacrifices himself to save the innocent women and children, because of course. And it's like, so is this supposed to be like making Punisher think that bad guys can be redeemed? Because that's kind of retarded, because he never ever listens to that. Like, his brain is broken, so that's kind of pointless. Like, that is really weird.
I like it though.
I don't know, it's very odd. I like how heavily, very surface level, it did reference his Catholicism a lot towards the end, where he's in a neon like cathedral. That was pretty neat. It's very hammy and it's extremely clunky.
I still think Neon Catholics is going to be my punk rock band name.
I think it would work. But I like those scenes. That was kind of neat. And then it ends on a great, really great, very silly shot where the neon cross that says Jesus saves, which would never hang in front of a Catholic church.
Nope.
The Jesus part gets like flickers out, and then it's just saves, and then you see the Punisher logo on his like chest like kind of light up as the screen dims and it's all black, and then he shoots a guy in the head, and then the movie ends and does like a guitar riff, and it's like, that's incredibly silly, but I do like that. Like, this is definitely not a good movie, but this was a very enjoyable watching experience, and I hate that. I hate when bad movies are fun. Why can't bad movies just be bad?
I love it when you find joy in bad movies. Get on my level.
No.
I kind of don't like that the Punisher logo is washed out so much on his chest. I wish it was brighter.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
I don't understand why they did that.
I don't either, because this movie definitely didn't stray away from being goofy as fuck.
Right.
So that's really weird. I do like the tack vest.
Yeah,
the tack vest that they have him wear with the neck guard. It's a different look.
The shape of it is cool.
Yeah, it's definitely unique. Like, the Thomas Jane one was like 1-to-1 with the trench coat and the combat boots and the t-shirt. Like, that was 1-to-1. But like, this is a different, and I do like it. But yeah, I don't know why it was so washed out. Like, it's weird. He's been active for 4 years, but like, my guy definitely has access to more spray paint.
Right.
If he has access to like mini crossbows with laser sights, I think he can get more spray paint to do his logo, because he's a drama queen.
It's like the point of the logo is to scare the bad guys. Of like, they clearly knew his name and like knew about him and to avoid him, but like, you couldn't see the logo, so he was just a guy basically. Yeah,
it was real weird.
It was funny too, because he just walks away from like a punished
massacre
scene and just walks down the streets of New York like all tacked up, like guns hanging off of him.
Honestly, I find that to be
jumps
believable.
on the subway like nothing. It's like,
I find that more believable than most of this movie. New Yorkers are weird. And this was 2008, so every American was strapped the fuck up at the time. Openly. This movie references 9/11. Multiple times. Yeah, New York has a bad history with terrorists. Gabagoo.
It also had like the Irish mob, but you couldn't really tell.
Yeah,
it was like just the head guy talked, and then a bunch of goons that stood there and protected him. Like,
they really did stand there gooning. The movie has a lot of gooning in it.
Yeah. Punisher goon zone, am I right?
Out of the three, I would definitely rewatch this one again.
Yeah.
Which is a shame, because I feel like if I had to pick another one of these to get another shot in a Magic world, it would probably be the 2004 one.
Yeah.
I feel like obviously Ray Stevenson is dead, so we can't really do that. But in Magic world, I feel like
Magic cards?
yeah, no, not Magic cards.
Oh.
In some magical world, I feel like you could definitely do more with the 2004 version in a future sequel. This one, I feel like it kind of fundamentally fucks some shit up that I think would be really hard to recover from. Whereas the 2004 one, while he is primarily driven by revenge and not vengeance, which are not the same thing, like, I don't know, by the end of it, he definitely fits the mold pretty well. It was kind of boring, but like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's almost like there's a fan film that's a sequel to that movie. That's pretty good, actually.
I didn't really remember anything about his performance, and that's because he was just trying to act what was written. Like, he clearly was a great actor. But I think Thomas Jane just fit the part better. Like,
yeah.
He looks more like a Punisher. Ray Stevenson, like, tried, but it just doesn't have the right build. Like, he slicked his hair back and he has the dark hair, but like, Thomas Jane has the chiseled jaw, and he's ugly, and it's great.
Yeah, big butt chin.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Dolph Lundgren one was just the most. That's the most. This is a movie made by the I don't remember the director's name, but he was
80s movie ever.
He was like the second unit director for like every good action movie in the 80s. So like it had a foundation there, but it was made by, but like he had never helmed like a large project before, and that shit, despite also being goofy as hell, was really ashamed of being a comic book movie.
Yep.
It was just an action movie. And Dolph Lundgren was still like fine. Like that guy can act. It's just a matter of he chooses really bad projects a lot.
Yep.
Like the first two Expendables, he's great.
Yep.
3 and 4 are horrible because they're very bad movies. Like, and
I haven't even seen 4.
Don't. It genuinely feels like money laundering. And like he's really, really good in Creed 2. Like he can give good performances. He just doesn't choose good projects very often. So like, I don't know. He was still fun. Like, I don't know. That's what I mean, is like they all have similar positives and negatives. Like they're all kind of in the same zone of like, these aren't great, but they're all watchable to some degree. But like, and there's a couple of elements that I think you can kind of cling on to as like, I like that idea.
Yeah.
But I don't think that any of them pull it off coherently enough to like be invested in.
Yep.
Meh.
It's good.
I wish I had drank the other 6 cores that I had brought over by the time that movie was over, because then I would have been having a fucking blast. Like, even more than I was. You're like, holy shit, his head blew up! That'd have been fun.
We read, mostly, Dark Knights of Steel.
Volume 2.
Well, volumes 1 and 2. We both reread it.
Yes.
Because you kind of can't just jump into Volume 2 despite having read Volume 1 like a year ago.
Especially because it opens up with a dream sequence, and it's like, what the fuck is going on? I need the context of the first 6 issues.
Right. So the first volume, I will recap because I remember that one better. There's... Game of Thrones happened. And you have different houses. Or, if you want to go super nerdy, there's Dune, right? There's the 3 houses. And that's how this book is set up. There's 3 houses, and you have the Supermens, and you have the Shazams, and then you have the women. It's true!
Kind of.
The Supermans, the Blacks, and the Women's.
Sort of.
It's probably unintentional.
It's the House of El, the House of Storms, and then Themyscira.
Amazon.
Yes.
Yes.
Plus Lois Lane, because she's hot.
Yeah.
Just throw her in there.
Yeah.
Just for fun.
It makes sense. Shut up.
Yeah. Game of Thrones happens.
Somebody kills off Superman's dad, who's the king of the Supermans, and that starts a war between the 3 houses, and a bunch of weird stuff happens, and a lot of plot twists and character twists, and there's also a lot of character mix-ups.
Yes.
Like
the Joker, baby.
the Green Arrow is also the Joker. No, sorry, Green Lantern. Green Lantern.
Is also the Joker, is also Lex Luthor.
Yes. Because he fell into vat and became the Joker. But then the ring found him.
Something like that.
Something. What else?
We have a new character. I think it's Zara. She's Superman's sister. She's basically Kara, in all but word.
Right.
But she's his sister for some odd reason. She's characterized very similar to Kara. Also, she's gay! She likes whamming. Same, honestly. I would also be in love with Wonder Woman if I could be.
That's what I thought. I was like, wait a minute, there was another case. Yes, there was.
Speaking of dead gays, Constantine is all like Black Lightning, ooh woo, which is very entertaining. Chuckle fucks.
What other character mix-up were there? I know there were more.
That's the big ones. In the first volume, anyways.
Right. So we get to the second volume.
Oh, well, it turns out in the first volume that Batman is actually the bastard son of the king.
Yes.
So he's
actually a Superman.
Yes. Batman is Superman. And then they fight? Confusion question mark?
Yes.
Plot twist? Superman bad, maybe?
Maybe.
And then, yeah, a lot of weird shit happens in this book that feels really out of character and confusing. And then
That's kind of why I like it, though. Because it's like...
Yes.
It's Game of Thrones for DC, and I just roll my eyes like, ugh, I guess I'll read it. But then all the character twists help make it unique. It's like, no, this is like its own little series. Just let me play with my toys in my toy box.
Yes.
And it changes a lot of characters up just like a little bit. And it's like, all right, this is cool. I like it.
Yes. You mean like in the second volume where it turns out that, I guess, spoilers, that the people doing the sussy things that feel out of character are actually white Martians because they're the real bad guys. And also Alfred is a Martian. He is the Martian Manhunter.
Yeah.
But also he's Alfred.
Yeah.
For reasons. Because it's fun.
It's cool.
It's neat. And then there's the Suicide Squad, sort of, who are like captured prisoners who work for Amanda Waller, who is never found out to be sussy by the end of this book. She is actually the reason why... This is a spoiler for you. It's right at the end.
No!
You'll live.
I actually saw that Waller was being sussy. I just don't know what you're about to tell me.
Amanda Waller ends up killing Alfred after the war is over. No. Like the battle is won, and then she blames it on Deadshot, and then they kill Deadshot. And Amanda Waller is like still in the clear. She's still the advisor to the House of L, and is clearly sequel bait for the next series. She's clearly going to be there. I think she's going to make a league of her own, you know? And then at the end of this book, they make the Justice League kind of. Sort of. And it turns out that Superman and Batman are like best bros because they're literally related. That was the thing in this book that I was getting hung up on, was in the first volume when it's like when Bruce goes to tell Clark, hey, you know and I know that we're actually related, but we just kind of act like it's not real.
Right.
But turns out I am definitely related because I have powers, and also I found this shiny rock that hurts really bad when I touch it, and then Superman's like, yeet! And just fucking stabs him, and it's like, what?
Yeah.
It feels very backstabby, but in a weird way. And I was like, please don't be an evil Superman story again. I'm so tired of this shit. Even when it's written
Especially by Tom Taylor.
Yeah, like...
It seemed like that's all he does.
Yes, which isn't great, because he can write, I think, Superman very well sometimes, but it's just, I was really hoping it wasn't going to be that, and it wasn't. It was a Martian.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the last like couple issues, when they're fighting the Martians and shit, which does kind of coalesce pretty quickly in the end, they're just the Trinity now. Like, they're just friends. Like, Bruce and Clark are like, yay, we're brothers, ooh! And they like give each other hugs and shit. Like, Clark is very like Clark by the end of the book. It's very, he is Superman, very through and through, which I really liked. I was really hoping that wasn't going to be the twist. Is like, no, that all the aliens are actually evil. It's like, oh, that'd be stupid. Another cool twist was that the Kents are farmers in the kingdom of the House of L.
Yeah.
And they raise random fucking metahumans, and they make the Teen Titans.
Yeah.
Because reasons.
Because the House of L was persecuting all the supers.
It's true.
Per Batman's advice, he doesn't like all the super.
Batman is racist, but then it turns out that you are also one of them. This sounds like an H.P. Lovecraft book when you find out that you're a little Jewish, actually.
Oof.
And then you go crazy. That happens multiple times. H.P. Lovecraft was very anti-Semitic.
So yeah. The first book felt a lot more twisty. This one, the second book felt like it was just playing out from all the twists. It didn't feel like it... It certainly wasn't the same. It just felt like the first volume had to have a bunch of explosions. And now that you're interested, here's the rest of the story.
I agree. But I think that means I actually like the second volume more. By a little bit. Just because...
It's not twist on twist.
Right, it has more time to breathe. Yeah. Even though the end battle with the Martians is only like an issue and a half. It's pretty brief of a conflict because there aren't that many of them. Like, there's only like 10 Martians.
Yeah.
But... I don't know, that's cool. I think it doesn't overly sequel bait itself. It sets up there are other things in this world. We know that a sequel book is happening. There's also a spin-off book about Deathstroke being a Viking, because that's cool. Like, I think it ends in a nice place where it's like, maybe we should get a big table and have all the guys and the girls, we're gonna hang out and we're gonna be the Justice League, you know? It's got that vibe to it. It does end with a bittersweet happy ending. And in the end of the book, which you haven't, the bit you haven't read yet, there's a one shot at the end, which includes 3 short stories set before these stories that are about like Batman and Superman and basically Supergirl being like friends and shit and like figuring shit out and making the Robins. So they're in different art styles for the different settings, and they're just like little short nuggets of like, this was when Bruce as a child was trained by Bane to kill the L's, and then he fucking kills Bane or breaks his back and throws him in the dungeon. Like, really cool stuff.
Something I want to talk about is the artwork for this series is absolutely amazing. I have no more words. Like, it's just so gorgeous. One of the best looking comics I've ever seen.
Definitely in recent memory. I really appreciate how it's not overly shaded or like polished. It quite frequently it has a lot of like depth of tone in the coloring, but it doesn't feel the need to like really digitize, and it feels like mostly like it was hand drawn and painted, even though it was clearly done on a computer. Like it maintains that throughout the book, which is really nice. And the designs are fucking off the charts. Good and very silly. Like Batman and his dorky fucking helmet with the little ear. It's so stupid. I love it.
They talk about it in the first volume. Harley Quinn gives them so much shit about like their little ears. It happens more than once, and it's funny every time.
Yes. I really like how the L's look. It's so bizarre as like a translation of a Superman suit. But if you just showed me this suit, this Clark, or Cal, and this Zara, I'd be like, that looks like a Superman and a Supergirl. Like, even though there's very little in common with their outfits, like they look good, but they don't just look like the Game of Thrones did. Like, they're still very intentional, like color blocked and layers and shit. This is really good, but also it doesn't take itself too seriously. It does have enough room for the silliness, which I think is kind of what makes it not feel like unironically like we just did Game of Thrones for funsies. Right. Like, it doesn't make it feel like it's kind of like a cheap shock value book. It's like, it's not Deceased, for like, just frankly, it's not as good as Deceased, but like, it's another really good Elseworld that Tom Taylor is in charge of now, and it's got a lot of fun. It's got a lot of shock value. It looks gorgeous. Yep. And it's in the real multiverse. It's not an Elseworlds book. It is an Elseworlds book. Sorry, it's actually Batman from Earth Zero could go there. This is a real place. This is not a super secret fake other thing, you know?
Weird.
They have retroactively made it. You know, they referenced it in I think it was Dark Crisis, maybe something like that. One of the recent events, they referenced it briefly.
Cover price is $25.
It's a bit steep.
Yep.
It's worth it, but it's a bit steep.
Yep, I agree.
Both of them are the same price.
Yeah.
I think, one, I hate when 12-issue series are broken up into 2 hardcovers. That is...
heard this before.
It makes me angry. If this was... I think $40 for all 12 would have been a much better deal, either hardcover or softcover. I would have preferred paperback. They are republishing them in paperback, but in the same volume size. I want both of them in one book. Mm-hmm. All 12 issues. Doomsday Cock-sized book, but not shit like Doomsday Cock was.
What else did you read? Or watch? Or do?
Your man. So I finally did it.
Wait. Let me guess. You watched the unreleased 1994 Fantastic Four.
No. Although that is on my to-do list. I read Dark Knight's Death Metal. The entire event.
Oh boy.
It is collected in
5 books.
5 or 6 trades, so it's a total of like 38 issues or something. It's primarily written by Scott Snyder with art in the main series done by Greg Capullo, and then the one-shots and spin-off issues are done by mostly the corresponding team for that ongoing. So say there's the Teen Titans book at the time is done by the Teen Titans crew of people, which is nice. A lot of the supplemental stuff, I believe, was also written by Joshua Williamson and James Tynion IV. Basically, but since Metal happened, the Batman Who Laughs has been collecting his shit. He's been getting his powers together and getting a gang of more evil Batmen for more action figures. And he's gonna suck up to Perpetua, who's the mother of the multiverse. She's the mother of the Monitors. So she's like now the biggest thing outside of the Source Wall. So he becomes like her handmaiden over Lex Luthor, which makes Lex Luthor angry. So he ends up working with the good guys in this book mostly because he's mad because he wanted to be the guy who could do all the things. But no, I will be good for once. And then the Batman Who Laughs siphons off enough power from various MacGuffins and other multiverses and assorted other bullshit, including very annoying Watchmen references that I do not like. He basically sucks the Dr. Manhattan juice out of Wally West, who had the Dr. Manhattan juice put into him after Doomsday Cock. I don't like this. I don't like this at all. He becomes very big. He is the Darkest Knight, I believe is what they call him. He's like a big demon bat cloud. And then he becomes bigger than Perpetua because he's got to be the real big bad guy of the book. And the Justice League fight him, and they win. A lot of other shit happens in here. Like, a lot of shit. This is a pretty big event. I like the idea of making a sequel to Metal. Metal was not a wonderful event, but it had some high points for sure. It had some really good art, and it wasn't a crisis. This is a crisis. This is a crisis. This is the most recent big crisis. We're changing all the shit. We're gonna do all the things. But I think that the end goal was a good one. The what they wanted to do, I guess editorial most likely, was go, everything is canon, everything has happened, and it doesn't really matter. Like, just fucking roll with it. Like, every character's history has extended for however long. Like, yes, Batman has somehow been active since the 40s, but also his parents died in 1989 when he was 10, and like it makes it way more relative. And I like that. I like the end goal of like making everything valid, basically, like not trying to fix anything. That's kind of what the most crises end up doing, is they want to fix problems and then they make more problems, whether on an editorial level or like in universe level. They're like, well, we need to squish in these characters we bought, so we shouldn't do another crisis. This one's like, there's some new shit in here too, but like they basically, not literally, but they may as well just blow out the source wall entirely. Like, just fuck it. Everything has happened and everything works, and just don't ask questions. It doesn't matter anymore. So then afterwards, there was a pretty big initiative for a lot more books to be disconnected from each other than like immediate sequel books and whatever. Just very more loosey-goosey, which I think is good. But this is one of the most convoluted fucking DC crises I've read, and it's a lot. Like, not in a good way, in my opinion. It does the same thing that Metal does, where it has a lot of bad Batmen from the evil multiverse, dark underside, bad people from Bad Place. And most of them are even less good than the last ones were. I liked some of the previous batch, and I don't mind all of the ones, but like there's one called the Robin King, and it's Bruce Wayne if he's a fucking sociopath as a child, and then he gets his parents killed, and then he becomes a Robin for reasons, and then he like kills Alfred, and then
Didn't we see that already in Metal?
No.
Where he goes cuckoo and kills his parents?
No. Not the same way as a different one.
Oh, okay.
It just... Sometimes the stories are written well, but in totality, they just don't mean much. It feels like doing Metal all over again, but then jamming in Watchmen's shit. Because Jeff Johns fucking sucks ass. And then... the main 7-issue book with art by Greg Capullo looks great. It's actually pretty cohesive to read as a single book, which not great. A lot of shit happens that you're going to have questions about. But if you use your brain, you can probably follow along with just the main book.
That's impressive.
It doesn't make it more enjoyable, though, because a lot of the better stuff is not in the main book. The main just Dark Knight's Death Metal. I give it 3 out of 5. Barely. Scott Snyder was way off the deep end here, which is a shame, because he can be really good, but if he's either overworked or way out of his league, like, quality-wise, if he's trying to be Grant Morrison, I'm sorry, he's not. Like, stop trying to be. Just, there's a way to get better at doing what you want to do without just kind of riffing on other people's work, and I think that Scott has a very bad tendency to do that. Yeah, it's like 50-50 on the one-shots here. Some are cool, some are bad. Some are cool, some are bad. The Flash one, I thought was definitely one of the better ones, where it's like the entire Flash family is running away from the Darkest Night because, you know, he's mega fast now or whatever. Because he needs to suck the Speed Force out of their ass. And that was a pretty good issue. That, I believe, was also done by the Flash team at the time, so that was nice. I guess notable events. Otherwise, Superman has been dark-sided a little bit. He gets hit with like anti-life or something stupid, so he has like a dark side arm, which is pretty cool, and then he puts like brass knuckles on it, which is neat. It's a cool design. Batman is dead because of reasons, so he can use the Black Lantern ring, which is cool. The reason that he's dead is like fucking stupid.
Black Lantern. It's so cool.
It is cool. He does use it well. I think he talks to Sergeant Rock. Is it Sergeant Rock? I don't know. It's another one of those random characters that stupidly niche characters that like actually narrates the book. But the justifying mechanism for like him being dead is really stupid. So like when it comes as a twist, it's like, wow, really? Batman's been dead this whole time when he's been using the Black Lantern ring? Really? Like, no shit. Dumbass. Like, come on. Wonder Woman's kind of a focus of this book, in a sense. Obviously, this is still a very, 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 very Batman-centric everything, because of course it is. But Wonder Woman does the most amount of anything in this book. Like, she is the one who kills the Darkest Knight the first time, sort of. He dies and comes back. It's confusing. That stupid Dr. Manhattan shit. And by the end of it, she's, like, kind of dead and becomes, like, a... sort of a guardian of the multiverse, sort of, which doesn't stick at all into the next phase of DC stuff.
Infinite Frontier?
Yes.
Yeah.
Most of that stuff was pretty good.
Because I read that one issue or whatever, and I was like, what is going on?
She gets real cool outfit. She's extra mystical now, which was neat. It just didn't stick that much. This was a lot to read, man. Yep. Each one of these books cost between like $16 to $20. And I think reading it in the order that I did helped. I think I got a pretty decent reading order in, but this was like... genuinely, the book starts with like in media res. Bunch of shit's happened. You have no clue what the hell's going on, and then almost all of the other issues coincide and happen within like 30 seconds of each other. So this is basically blowing out like a 2-day conflict into like 40 issues, and that's bad. It doesn't stack well because you're reading 7 issues between the main issue 3 and 4. Like, it's a lot of shit. It's way too much. Which is a shame, because there's definitely some decent stuff in here. Metal was better. Metal wasn't wonderful either, but Metal was a lot more intentionally stupid, where it was like...
I was gonna say, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, Metal, Death Metal was definitely fun. Like, Greg Capullo is going off on art. Like, by all means, this looks good, but it's just, there's a rot at the heart of it, of, like, editorial Watchmen insertion crap.
There's a note in issue 6 of Metal where it's like, yeah, Joker's a dragon now, it's fucking Metal. Get over it.
Yeah. And this one doesn't really have that attitude as much to it. It's still fun sometimes, and it's not like it's supposed to be super dark and depressing. It's just... It definitely has a lot more shock value stuff, a lot more trying to explain itself, but its explanation is stupider than not knowing. Like, yeah, I don't need to see the 87 different ways that the Batman Who Laughs, who's already not a great villain, becomes the biggest bad guy ever. Like, holy shit, I don't need to see all of this. And again, so much of it happens within, like, that much time. There's, like, a full issue of him being reborn because he's Dr. Manhattan now or whatever, and it literally takes place in that amount of time. And it's like... It takes a lot of the fun out of it, because it's so obsessed with the logistics. But Scott Snyder's not good with logistics. I'm sorry, he's not with the scale of this. Like, this is just too much for him, and a lot of the writers that worked on this are people I like and respect, but this just, oh my gosh, the editorial oversight on this was fucking horrible. Like, this, on the whole, I spent way too much fucking money on this, because I bought all of the trades, and they're eventually going to get collected in an omnibus for like $125, which is way more reasonable, because that's a little bit less than I think I would have spent in the trades. I don't recommend reading it, unless you're curious. I would say maybe read the main book. You're going to be missing out on a lot. There's a couple of one-shots that I think do stand out. But, the total event's a 2 out of 5.
Yikes.
It's just not coherent enough.
Well, speaking of Tom Taylor.
Oh boy.
I read most of Dark Ages.
Fuck yeah, boy!
Interesting.
I like this one.
That's an interesting response.
I talked about it a while back.
I don't remember that. Illustrated by Iban Coelho. I-B-A-N. Coelho. There is an evil demon robot apocalyptic nuke in the middle of the earth. And it was put there billions of years ago by the Celestials, because they said, this is gonna ruin all of creation. We're gonna hide it in the only planet that has humans on it.
The villain's really bad. It's really stupid.
It's basically the Golden Army. Kinda.
Yeah.
And so that wakes back up. What?
But the character designs, though!
Shush! Shut. That wakes back up, and characters go, oh shit, this is the end of everything. And so they send a couple of supers, including the Thing, because they might have to punch it, to go stop it. And they do, sort of, but it sends out a universe-wide EMP. And so all of electricity is kaput, and the world goes dark.
Like Dark Ages?
Shut up. Shut. And so the rest of the book is kind of just dealing with that. Like, what would the world look like if there was a global EMP? Which is kind of cool. But it kind of just pisses about for the rest of the book. Like, the Apocalypse is like, yeah, this is my chance. Let's fucking go. I'm gonna take over the world and run it. And so he does, or he tries to. He spoilers, I guess. He captures Magneto to do sciencey shit and actually make electricity again. And he uses Purple Man because that's the easiest answer ever to control the rest of his crew. And the heroes have to join up and stop it. I haven't read the last issue, which is my fault. But
Dad's Spider-Man.
I like how the heroes spread out across the world to like keep the world safe from bad guys, because the world is dark and there's always going to be bad guys. So they have like a psychic in each country or whatever to keep in contact. Iron Man is like, oh, I did this once before in a cave, I can do it again, and that was kind of cool. There's a lot of like nice little details, but the story really does kind of just piss about. Like, it's really just a what if an EMP went off? What would the superheroes look like in the Marvel universe?
Yeah, you're right. The art just makes me nut a lot. Copious loads.
Yeah, it looks really good. It does a really good job with shadows and making the world look dark. Like, it does a really good job with that. It's not easy using shadows like this. That's why Mike Mignola is so well known, because he does it really, really well. But I had a drawing class where it was a college course, and they were like, we're here to make shapes. Don't overshade it. I would rather no shading than overshading. Like, that's what the teacher said, because shading just complicates things so much. And this book does a really good job of shading and making everything look dark and look really good at the same time.
Cool costume changes.
Yes.
Old man Spider-Man with beard.
I'm not giving it an official rating because I haven't read the climactic ending, but it's fine.
How much you buy where?
I have read it digitally through my Marvel membership. It's 6 issues. I don't know.
I remember they hyped it up a lot.
Depending...
The way they marketed it was kind of weird, because they're like, Tom Taylor's going to change the Marvel Universe forever.
Yeah.
And it was like...
Nah.
It was marketed like it was going to be a mainline book, and it's not.
It's 6 issues, and it's basically a what if. Yeah. I was in the back rooms at Jetpack yesterday, and I found like 2/3 of the run, and I was like, am I really gonna read this again though? So I kind of left it there. Like, I don't
That's fair.
know.
I don't even know if I'm gonna reread it, other than to look at the art.
Yeah, it's $2. It would have been $2 an issue, and then like pissing about eBay or other stores, like trying to find 2 other issues, and I'm just like, ugh, I don't really want to put in the work to find those last 2 issues. I don't think I'm gonna reread this. So, meh. If you can find it for like 15-ish bucks, it's probably worth it.
Fair. I have another one.
I don't.
I do.
Go for it.
I'm gonna do it anyways.
Okay.
I have a themed week.
I haven't finished anything this week.
Yeah, you're being special. I watched Batman holy shit. It's only 2:45. I shouldn't be this goofy. I read Batman Knightwatch, which is a book I had never heard of before. It collects a 5-issue series about Batman, but what if it was made for kids and also social media. Basically, it is canonically takes place after Alfred has died and he has been replaced with an AI. And it features various members of the Bat family, but kind of a random selection. It's like Nightwing, Batgirl, Huntress, who's from another universe, Damian sometimes, and Batman. People escape from Arkham, because of course they do, and then the Batman has to go track them down, and they decide to make a Twitter, but for people in Gotham to report shit. That's hence the Knightwatch. It's like Neighborhood Watch, but a little less racist. It's a weird concept. This book is very much so like a YA book. Like, I didn't know that going into it. This was definitely meant for kids, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I just kind of wish I had checked first. I originally had a different night-themed book planned, and that one fell through. So I just ended up going with this. there are 5 issues. Some of them include 2 stories. Some of them are 1 story per issue. It's really weird. They're done primarily by 2 artists. Eric Owen and somebody else I don't remember, and then it's written by Jay Torres. I had never heard of any of these people, and I was like, okay, fuck it. Like, it's a novel concept. It's a lot of, hey, this recruit, this 9-year-old, saw Clayface go down this alleyway, you should go over there. And then they go over there, and then they punch Clayface. This is like smushing BTAS, Batman 66, and like those comic books that you'd find in like the cereal aisle of a grocery store together. And I mean that in a non-insulting way. Like, this is very punny, teamwork. It's very silly. It's very silly and very light, which is fine. It's not really funny to me, but like none of it's like offensively unfunny either. It's just definitely not meant for me. Some of the art's pretty good. It's very very cartoony. Like, when I look at Batman, I see Buzz Lightyear. Like, if that makes any sense at all. Like, head shape wise, I see Buzz Lightyear. Like, it's a very odd art style between the 2 artists, but they both work together pretty well. And the end of it, the final issue, ends with a bunch of kids who are inspired by Batman and friends to write comic books, which implies that all of this has actually been a comic book this whole time. They're like, yeah, we could make this new character. And they end up describing Talon, which is the end of the book, and then they go off to do this like school project, I guess, where they're gonna draw Batman comics, and then one of them picks up his phone and is like, I see something, I should report this. And it's cute. Like,
I interject this review with a terribly written headline by The Hill. U.S. women have become more liberal, men mostly stable.
That's a headline.
I think they mean men have stayed the same, but that's poor word choice if I've ever seen it.
I agree.
Continue.
This is 100% meant for like 10-year-olds, and I mean that in the best way possible.
That's good.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. I just wish I had known that going in. I probably would have picked something else, because I will not reread this again. I gave it a 3 out of 5. Like, it's enjoyable. Some of the art's pretty good. It's just really cartoony and not much of substance. The characters aren't like written out of character or anything. So it has a little bit of that like Wayne Family Adventures vibe, that like fan animation that got turned into real comics. I think Jacob might remember this. Maybe I think it started on Webtoons, I think.
I didn't read any of that.
I don't know. Like, it just...
Collin followed a lot of that.
I think I remember that. I don't know. This seems like genuine. I'm gonna find the nearest 10-year-old who wants a Batman book, and I'm gonna give it to him. It's straightforward. It's got easy, digestible lessons. It's silly. Doesn't take itself too seriously. The Joker, runs around with a big tank to bash through buildings so he can shoot Batman in the face because he's mad. Robin says "holy moly" many times. It's fluff, but it's good fluff. I just don't really have an interest in reading it again. I bought it for like $15 or $16, which, if I had known what it was, I wouldn't have paid that much for it. I would have paid like $5 for that. But I think if you have a kid who's interested, like, that's probably a decent price. It took me 30 minutes to read. I don't know.
Cool.
It is neat. I don't know. Batman, but for kiddies.
That's the show.
That is the show, baby.
Thank you for listening. Please do it again next week.
Yes, do it again next week.
If you want more than what you got just now.
Go to patreon.com/dimecomicbros network.
Oh, yeah, that.
Like Caitlin and Jeff Lawrence have done. They give us money, so they get more stuff.
Yep.
Yes. You get early access to all of our episodes, cool stickers, bookmarks, a bunch of cool art shit done by Collin, as well as exclusive access to happy hour segments where after most of our shows, we sit down, have a beer, talk about random nerd stuff, life stuff, work stuff. It could be anything. We could be talking about Natalie Portman for 40 minutes, or we could be talking about why Terminator Genesis is the worst Terminator movie. You never know. It's just random stuff.
I don't think I even saw that one.
Don't do it.
I left off at Salvation.
Salvation is okay.
I've seen it twice, and I think I remember liking it better the second time, but it's still not great.
Yeah, no. So yeah, if you want to do that, we'd appreciate the support.
Yeah.
Also,
Support local shops.
yes. Shop local. Shop at your local comic shop. Local comic shops are good and important. Jetpack Comics and Games in downtown Rochester, New Hampshire, is our local comic shop.
Hey, spoiler. Show up to the last free comic book day. Do it.
That's true. This upcoming May is going to be the final free comic book day, like full festival, all of Rochester thing being put on by Jetpack. So make sure to go to that. We will be there. I have already confirmed this. We will be there.
Wow.
It'll be fun.
Wow.
We'll have lots of fun. We're going to say this every episode until
If
then.
it's the last one, we really should do cosplay.
It's not going to be like the last one. Like they're going to still give out the free book.
It's the last citywide one.
Yes.
And so we should do
But
cosplay.
also, to be fair, they said that 3 years ago. And then they did it again. So, I'm just saying. But yeah, we're probably going to need to migrate down to Stairway to Heaven Comics, maybe, for when they do theirs in the next couple of years. But yes, I am probably going to end up doing cosplay. I've been thinking about that for funsies. I will be cringe, but I will be free. Also, speaking of being cringe but being free, go support Collin. He has finally finished the project he's been working on forever.
Yep.
Space Adventure,
Number one.
Number one? Uno.
Kick the gods in the ass. No. Kick the gods in the cock and ball
Yes.
and twist their nose.
I believe it's Grasping Godhood.
Yeah.
Go support him on Patreon. I've been linking his stuff in every episode since he's been on hiatus. Go give him your money. It's available digitally now for everyone on the $5 tier and above, and he's getting physical copies printed.
Yeah.
And he will definitely have those at Free Comic Book Day.
Yeah.
We are very proud of Collin Boy.
Yeah.
Collin Man.
Call him in.
He has earned Collin Man. He is now a man again.
He's been on hiatus
My anus is very high.
compared to Colin.
It's true. He's short.
What's next week?
Next week is Guardians of the Galaxy Omnibus by Bendis, the second half of the first one.
Great.
That was the best way to phrase that.
I forgot that was next week. For some reason, I was thinking it was this week. And that's why I was trying to finish it so quickly.
No, it's because you have to give it back to me.
special.
It's because you have to give it back to me today. Because I was really bad about that.
Oops.
I was trying to have it done. Then we give ourselves an extra buffer, and we're fine. Yes. So next week, we will be talking about more Garbians and some other stuff.
Yep.
It'll be cool. It'll be fun. Tune in for that.
And now for happy hour. Ha ha!
I agree. I know that's a very contentious take, but
I don't wanna.
you gotta.
I wanna go back to bed. Just sleep. The whole weekend.